So, children, here we start lesson number 3 from your SS textbook, that is Indian Constitution. Children, the very first page of our Constitution is Preamble. Children, what the preamble is means forewords, beginning. So, here is the very first page of our Constitution. And what does it say? We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure all the citizens. Children, the preamble was introduced in the constitution or included in the constitution in the year of 1976, and that too with the 42nd amendment. Amendment means changes. Children, constitution is a book containing the rules according to which a whole nation is supposed to be governed. There are some rules of a particular family. It might be an institution also, and even in school some rules are there. So don't we need a book of rules to govern such a huge nation as India? Yes, we definitely need some rules to govern a huge nation like India. So here we had framed a constitution. What is a constitution? So the terminology of it is a systematic compilation of set of rules to run the government of a country is known as the constitution of the country. But in simple words, if I explain you, so a book containing the rules and regulations according to which a country is to be governed is called constitution. Children, with a very proud, I would like to share one fact with you that ours is the largest written constitution all over the world. Many countries are there, but all of them do not have written constitution. Even the nation Britain itself does not have a written constitution. So children, here we are going to study about a few facts regarding our constitution. For example, when did it was implemented, how was it prepared, how long did it take to complete, and so on. So how was the constitution of India formed? Means made. Before we got the independence, it was a huge challenge in front of our leaders to frame a constitution according to which a nation like India was to be governed. But our leaders were very sharp and they were having brilliant foresight. Using all their skills and dedicated work, they framed our constitution. Children, it took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to get the work completed. The task began in the year of 1946 and got completed on 26th November 1946. But it was implemented or it came into existence on 26th January 1950. Do you know what the reason is behind this? Well, our freedom fighters had already declared 26th January as the Independence Day of our nation. As a result, we implemented or enforced the Constitution on 26th January, and as a result it is celebrated as Republic Day of our nation. The Constitution was framed by prominent leaders such as Vijayalakshmi Pandit, Sarojini Naidu, Frank Anthony, H.P. Modi, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, Sardar Baldev Singh, Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, Sardar Patel, and many more. So here is the picture of the few leaders, few scholars who gave their dedicated work to frame our constitution. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the elected president of the Constituent Assembly. Now, what do you mean by Constituent Assembly? Children, an assembly or committee was framed. A group of people, here a group of people is considered as the assembly, but it was a huge group including more than 160 members. They all together voted for Dr. Rajendra Prasad and he became the president of the Constituent Assembly, whereas Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was the chairperson of the drafting committee. Drafting committee means to prepare the written document is what known as drafting committee. These prominent leaders worked for 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, and at the end our constitution was prepared. Children, our constitution has borrowed some special features of the constitutions of Britain, Ireland, France, the United States of America and Germany also. Some of the features or some of the rules we have borrowed from a few nations, like recently I explained you or I have given you the name of those nations. Earlierly, I have also told you that ours is the largest written constitution all over the world. Let us move ahead. Salient features of our constitution means the main features, the prominent features of our constitution are democratic rule. Now children, what do we mean by democratic rule? Children, democracy is to the people, by the people and for the people. In a democratic rule, the people themselves are the owner. The public servants, the ministers who are also known as public servants, they are responsible to the people because they are the representatives and servants, not the master of the people. Here we are having secularism also. What do we mean by secularism? So children, secularism means freedom to follow any religion and not to have any kind of bias for other religion. Children, in India, with a very proud, I would like to share that India is the only nation that gives freedom to all religion, all caste, and with that too without having any bias. In front of the law, we all are same in India. It is not like that in other countries. What do they do is they are having bias. There is a special religion. For example, if you go to another nation, it might be a neighboring nation also. So that neighboring nation is having its own religion. For example, Nepal is a Hindu religion nation. If we go to Pakistan, then it's a Muslim religion nation. But India is the only nation that doesn't have its own religion. Rather, it is believed that the people living here in India are more free than any other nation all over the globe or the world. A secular nation means that the government does not conform to the norms of any particular religion in its system of governance. Citizens are not discriminated. Discriminated means humiliated, insulted. They are not kept any kind of bias by the government on the basis of their faith, sect, or religion. Every citizen enjoys the right to follow and propagate, means motivate, support, expand the religion of his or her choice. Children, the third one is republic. Republic means a government that obtains power from people directly or indirectly. Children, early too I have told you that ours is a democratic nation. Republic nation means the ultimate power lies in the hand of people. If the people are not satisfied with the working of the government in the upcoming elections, the people would cast their vote. Cast means give their votes against the government, and they would have their own elected representative, and that too from another party, or it might be from the same party sometimes. We have adopted a democratic republic system of government, which means that powers are not limited in the hands of a few privileged people. Rather, it is accessible to all the citizens, irrespective of their caste, class, religion, or gender. Children, ours is the nation where a chaiwala can become a prime minister. Yes, children, I am talking about our Pradhan Mantri, or it might be also termed as the Pradhan Sevak, who was earlier a chaiwala, and just because he got majority in the elections, right now he is the prime minister of our nation. Another example of a MLA is there in Madhya Pradesh. He is literally a person who is a scholar but who is living in the remote area and is very poor, but at present he is the member of parliament. So how does he become the member of the parliament? Well, the answer is he participated in the election and people voted for him. When does anyone vote for you? When people like you, then only they will vote for you. So many people were in favor of him. They voted for him, and as a result, that fellow became a member of the parliament. Let us go further. Children, ours is the federal government, Now, what do we mean by federal government or federal state? So, the answer is federal government means the responsibility lies in the hand of both the levels. Means at the center it is central government and at the state level it is state government. We are having layered types of government. At the central level, the president is the head, whereas at the state government or the state level, the governor is the head. Children, earlierly we have already learned in your previous standard that there are three organs of the government. Here in India, there are three organs of our government. One is legislature, another one is executive, and the third one is judiciary. Legislature, what does it do? So, legislature frames the law, whereas executive implements the law, and judiciary gives verdicts or gives its decisions whether the laws framed by the legislature is in the favor of the people or not, and whether they are observed by the people or not. So, that is the task of the judiciary. Children, judiciary is kept free from the influence of both the other organs, that is, legislature and executive, to make it free and fair. Children, the legislature further is having parliament that is divided into two houses, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Whereas at state level the legislature is divided into two, that is state legislative assembly and state legislative council. Children, in India it is not compulsory that every state needs to have a legislative council. Many of the states do not have legislative council, that is Vidhan Sabha Parishad. Most of the states in India have legislative assembly only. But a few states such as Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana do have Vidhan Sabha Parishad, which is also known as Legislative Council. Further, the executive body, Prime Minister is the head at the central level, whereas at the state level, Chief Minister is the head. Prime Minister is having councils of ministers, whereas Chief Minister is also having council of ministers. For example, I would like to tell you one thing, that suppose that some guests are going to come to your place and your mother is having too many tasks to perform within a short period of time. So what would she do? She would allot some kind of task to each member of your family. She would ask your father to buy some sweets and napkins from outside the market. She would ask you to clean up the house. She would ask your grandparents to help in her odd jobs in the house. Here, in the same way, the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister both are allocating a few tasks to the ministers of the council or the cabinet ministers. They are dividing their tasks among these ministers to make their task easier. Further, judiciary is the third organ of the government. At the central level, Supreme Court reigns supreme, whereas at the state level, High Court reigns supreme, and under the order of High Court, a few courts are there. First is the district court and another one is subordinate court. I hope you all are able to understand it properly. So let us go ahead. Children, there are totally 6 fundamental rights in Indian Constitution for a citizen. As we all know that each coin has two sides. In the same way, duties and rights both come together. We have already learnt about the duties. If you see the very first page of your textbook, then also you will be able to see fundamental duties. And here we are going to discuss about fundamental rights. Children, fundamental means basic. So these are our basic rights. The very first one is right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. Children, these 6 are the fundamental rights, means the basic rights. No one has the right or no one must dare to snatch these fundamental rights or any of these fundamental rights from you. Fundamental rights of Indian citizens are provided by the Constitution of India, and that was adopted on 26th of November in the year 1949, but it was implemented on 26th of January 1950. The fundamental rights of Indian citizens guarantee that the residents of the land can lead a peaceful life as long as they inhabit in the country. The individual fundamental rights of Indian citizens are most of the time similar in all the democratic countries. Children, today we are going to discuss about these fundamental rights step by step, but in detail you will learn in your upcoming grade. The very first is right to equality. Children, in the very past time, the men and women were having partiality. Means if the same task was completed by men and women both, but the woman was paid less amount than it was paid to the men. So here right to equality denotes that all are same in front of the law, no matter what the gender is, what the caste is. Another one is right to freedom. Yes, children, we are free enough to live here. We are free enough to expand our property. We are free enough to wander all over the nation. Further, right against exploitation. Exploitation means to do misuse of something. Suppose I am your teacher and I ask you to clean up my house. Actually, it is not part of your duty to clean my house. But I am your teacher, and just because of that reason, you people are helping me in cleaning up my house. Then it is exploitation of yourself. Suppose that after getting matured, you are working somewhere and your wages were fixed by the employer that you will be paid 300 rupees per day. But when the work is accomplished, he or she would pay you less than 300, so it will be your exploitation. Children, let us go for the fourth one, that is right to freedom of religion. Yes children, in India we all are free enough to follow any religion we want. We do have right to expand or support our religion. Here in India, a Hindu person or Hindu citizen can follow any other religion, and a person or citizen of any other religion can follow Hindu religion too. The next one is cultural and educational rights. Yes, children, we are free enough to follow our own culture, our own tradition, and we do have educational rights without having any bias. I can go for my further study, and there is no law or no restrictions over there that can stop me to get educated. Next one is right to constitutional remedies. Children, this is the fundamental right which was declared as the soul of the constitution by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Children, do you know why is it so? Well, this right gives you the opportunity or the chance to oppose even the government or the constitution if they interrupt in enjoyment of yours of the fundamental rights. Means if others are interrupting in your fundamental rights, it might be related to constitution also. If the constitution itself interrupts you or makes hinders in following or enjoying your fundamental rights, then you have the opportunity to oppose them. So this is right to constitutional remedies. Children, here our lesson gets over. I hope you understood it very well. We'll be soon back with another video. Till that time, read the lesson and try to understand it.